Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Ripe for Reissue. Oh, this one just has my blood boiling. Oh, it's Waxman, a centennial celebration. Okay, so it's no longer the Waxman Centenary celebration, pardon me. It's no longer a centenary. I don't know when the centenary was. I don't care. What I care about is that this is no longer available. Maybe some of the individual discs are. It's only 3 discs, but it contains the 3 stunning Waxman complete film score recordings on Varèse Sarabande, featuring the Royal Scottish National Orchestra under various conductors. Let's see, it's Frederick Talgorn, it was one of them, and Joel McNeely, I think, is the other 2. Yeah, Joel McNeely are the other 2. And the 3 film scores in question are 3 of the best, most iconic, most fabulously amazing film scores ever made. Gosh, I hope these are still available individually. If not in the box, they are Rebecca. Oh, baby, Rebecca, the Hitchcock Spectacular with Manderley. Remember Manderley and Dame Judith Anderson as Mrs. Whipple, or whatever her name was, the evil housekeeper. It wasn't Mrs. Whipple. Mrs. Danvers, that was her name, but whatever, some English thing. And oh my goodness, it's just such a cool, spooky, creepy, wonderful, wonderful film with an equally creepy, spooky, wonderful score that Waxman conjured up somewhere. Remember that Waxman got his sort of cut his eye teeth doing some fabulous horror movie stuff, particularly The Bride of Frankenstein. That was, I think, one of his first major Hollywood commissions, and it's one of the first major symphonic Hollywood scores. Waxman got his start, in Germany, where he was playing in a jazz ensemble, a jazz combo called, I think, the Weintraub Syncopators. I'll bet that was a lot of fun. Back in Berlin in the 1920s, and of course he was a refugee from Nazism, and wow, boy, was he talented. His style resembled to a certain extent that of Shostakovich. That's the composer that many people cite when they talk about some of his film scoring. And after Rebecca, you can hear his jazz bona fides in Sunset Boulevard. Sunset Boulevard is probably my favorite film score of all time. I mean, it's just incredibly wonderful. You've got amazing leitmotifs for all of the various characters. It's one of the great movies of all time, of course. It was controversial in its day. You had Gloria Swanson coming out of retirement to make this vicious, sarcastic film about the way Hollywood treats its own. You had Cecil B. DeMille making a special appearance. It was really an amazing thing. And the end, when Norma Desmond goes insane. I keep confusing her with Carol Burnett's, Nora Desmond or whatever. I get them all mixed up. But when Norma Desmond goes completely insane, and she is doing Salome, she says Salome, she calls it. And originally Billy Wilder, the director, wanted Waxman to use Strauss's Salome, as the soundtrack, and Waxman said, no, I can do it. Let me do it. And instead of having the dead head scene, he recreates the Strauss Salome final scene, complete with the woodwind trills and scraps of melody from earlier on, flitting by her through her deranged mind. And then when she's ready for her close-up, and she comes down the stairs, making her entrance, into that unbelievably dissonant tango. I think of da 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 da, with the wind screaming, wah, da, da. Oh my God, it's one of the great bits of film scoring in all of the universe. And this remake is just astonishing. It's a fabulous performance of the whole score. And you get the prelude, which was cut, the talking corpses in the morgue, which is a big, long chunk of music, like 10 minutes of music. Really phenomenal stuff. And then we also have Peyton Place, which is a Hollywood, sentimental. It's a soap opera, as the soap opera Peyton Place later became. But this was the original film, and so it's very sentimental and very warm and very stringy. And of course, Waxman could do that too, because these Hollywood film geniuses were chameleons. They could record, they could capture any scene, mood, emotion, location. I mean, really, it was astonishing what they could do. And Waxman was one of the great, great, greats. It's that simple. So this should never, ever have been allowed to go out of print, ever in the history of the universe. The individual discs, I'm sure you could find them, if they're not still in print, individually, at least floating around, used. I mean, they're just important recordings. And it's great, great music, fabulous music by a master composer. So it just pisses me off in ways I can't even begin to describe. And what makes it all the more aggravating is that technically this is not classical music. I mean, classical music. It is classical music in my view, but not in the sort of snobby, limited, classical music ghetto sense. And because of that, and because Varèse Sarabande is still around, and they have billions of soundtracks, they've got the greatest recording and soundtrack library in the history of recorded sound, and they make money on this stuff, presumably, because there's a much bigger audience for original track recordings and film scores than there is for, the standard classics, I think. Anyway, Concord Music owns this, and they're doing nothing with it. I don't know who's in charge there, and they just don't seem to care. But boy, would be such a wonderful opportunity to do a special series of classic film scores from Hollywood's golden age, and this would be a prominent jewel in that crown, without a doubt. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.